A point to ponder. Once I gained maturity and critical thinking skills, being exposed to our Father in the Spirit's reasoning, so reading all the holy books, the books of the wise men, scripture, Torah, however you want to express it, got to the part about the Immaculate Conception. That's only in one account about the Messiah. Now, the Messiah did not do or teach anything different than, say, Moses, Elijah, Elisha, Abraham. They all exhibited the same powers in the Spirit, and they had the same message as far as kindness, hospitality, generosity, and things like that. And then I'm reading back in Genesis 6, so just research Genesis 6 conspiracy. You'll find all kinds of information. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The angels came down to Mount Hermon, made an agreement that they would all at the same time commit the same sin and take women as wives. That was counted as a sin. They got chained up for that, and they're going into the everlasting fires of transformation. They're going to become like men. That's their condemnation. You want women, you're going to become like men. Have fun with that. My dog's about to scare herself because she's tangled around my walking stick. Okay, so moving along. So I'm reading this about what an abomination it is to our Creator for a immortal being to mingle inappropriately with the mortal flesh. And it got me really upset my spirit. Would that not make the Father the epitome of hypocrisy to then beget a child off a mortal fleshly woman? Wouldn't that make him a hypocrite? Or is that like 50 Shades of Grey? Evil's only evil if it's done by poor people. I'm sorry, you angels were lower, so that's a crime. That's called abuse. But we up here in the upper realms, we can do the same thing, but it's exotic. It's sexy. It's tantalizing. It's exciting. No, our Father's not a hypocrite. I don't believe so. And so it just gives you a point to ponder. And that's why when I read the writings of the Nazarene, they make more sense to me. Because really, truly, how can we be like the Messiah if we weren't conceived by Immaculate Conception? Isn't that kind of misleading? Or like setting us up for failure? It doesn't make sense. And so I purport that one little input to that story, again, the Greeks and their idea of gods and deities was when a god would come, when an angel, an immortal being, would come and beget a child off of a mortal being. So whether it be a female immortal having a child by a male mortal, or vice versa, the offspring were like superhuman. But we don't need to have mixed relations with immortal beings to exhibit supernatural abilities. I didn't. People around me, when I was quickened, it's called the quickening. When I was quickened, everybody around me would just supernaturally heal. Like, time wasn't a thing. It would freeze. The weirdest things. And then, of course, it left me. Like Scripture says, the gifts of the Spirit are for producing and upbuilding of the congregation. But these spirits, these abilities, these gifts, they're going to leave. And that's because we're infused with the Spirit and given a show of what our potential is, and then we have to grow into it. And I could see that starting to come back into my life, where people look at me and they look like angels to me. Their spirit within just lights up, because that spirit exists within all of us, and it's just a matter of setting it on fire. And so when we light our fire, it triggers the fires in the people around us, their spirit, their immortal spirit, or it doesn't. It causes them to repress theirs more, and then they become evil and aggressive and can't have you around them, and your very existence irritates the heck out of them, because they really don't want that out of themselves. They've been trained to repress and oppress it. So, again, does not make sense. It would make our Creator the epitome of hypocrisy to have begotten a child off of a little virgin named Mary, which virgin just means young woman. If we do our research, it is not a state of her sexuality. Go get you a copy of the Nazarene. And I like the one better with the original names restored. You can find that on Amazon, no problem. And start thinking critically, because you have the potential to do absolutely everything that the Messiah did. That was his point from being here, to save us from sin and wrong thinking. Because when we are free from sin and wrong thinking, our spirits flourish. We've been seeds. Our mortal body, our animal skins that our father clothed our parents in, and then we inherited because of their sin, to protect us in this dog-eat-dog world, this animal world. Those are like the shells of a seed. They're gonna fall off. And so we've been planted down here in the dirt, in the darkness. And our casing, our shell casing is gonna come off. And our spirit's going to be immortal. What kind of immortal spirit are we going to have? Like breatharianism. I know that's a thing. But I also picked up on that you don't become breatharian unless you want to lock in your consciousness. If that's all you want to know, if that's the state of mind, the belief systems, and the state of being that you're happy in, then you become a breatharian. You don't change your consciousness. But if you want it to expand and grow to the fullness that our Creator has in store for us, then you're going to take things in and you're going to let go of things even longer. So you're going to be consuming, you're going to be eating and drinking. But after that, when you're ready to lock in your consciousness and make that your immortal state of being, that's when you become breatharian. Because eating is just a corrupted version of nourishment in paradise, how it was in the Garden of Eden. It's more a form of lovemaking than consumption and consumerism, where everything just shares life force energy, and we have different amounts of different qualities. And so we might need a little more spice to our personality, and we'll get that from a spicy plant there in the Garden of Eden. And maybe we need some more soothing, milky substance, and we'll walk by that kind of plant, and we'll swap energy with it, become one with it, absorb its qualities and things like that. So you have to know what I'm talking about in order to understand what I'm talking about. But you'll get there if you're meant to. Happy journeying.